also want to say, you know, we talked about these people being, or these signs being introverted and shy. These aren't negative traits, right? Like we said positive things about how all of these signs can recharge themselves and rejuvenate themselves by being alone, right? They give themselves time to reflect. So don't think of any of these terms as negative, or that you also can't be social and be hitting the scene.
Everything we say, and I mean, I don't know what you believe in, every aspect of this world, there's duality.
What's good, y'all? Welcome to our channel. I'm Maya.
And Sarah.
And we are charmed and dangerous.
Because you know we're charming.
Oh, and we be dangerous.
We dangerous. Happy spooky season.
Yes. You see us repping.
Yeah, we spooky out here.
Okay.
You know what's funny though? When I think of spooky season, even though Halloween's a social time, I do think of being more introverted and people wanting to be inside more, like vibing more, getting cozy.
So this episode is perfect for that. So let's just get into it.
Yes.
Okay, Sarah, so let us know the first sign you picked that you feel is the most shy or introverted.
Yes. Okay, so the first sign that I picked is Taurus. Homebody Taurus. You know, Taurus, I feel like really enjoys their home more than anything else. Like, no matter what party, outing, dinner, lunch, whatever you're doing, like, they will probably prefer being at home. And you can come over, but like, they don't want to go. You know? And they believe that there's nothing else out there that can really make them any happier than they already are in the environment that they feel comfortable in, around the people they feel comfortable with. And then I just feel like Taurus just values the safety of their environment. Taurus is very calm, but that's because they're always in situations that they can control. Yeah. You know what I mean? And like, they only like to be around people that they can trust because they tend to be predictable. Even though that sounds really like shitty, like, what you mean? You think I'm predictable? And it's like, Taurus probably does think you're predictable, and that's why they enjoy being around you, because you make them feel safe. You know?
It's hard for them to branch out. So yeah, they feel the most comfortable in their home, or doing the things that they feel most comfortable doing, or also meeting the same people. You know, like, it's very hard for them to branch out, also because they have a hard time trusting people. Yeah. Like you were saying.
For sure. And I just feel like they just don't feel the need to like have to go risk something. You know what I mean? Like, solitude is enough for them. You know what I mean? They're not like, oh, I'm missing something. Like, I gotta go adventure. I gotta go see what else is out there. I gotta grow in my career. Like, they're just like, I'm kind of set over here. Like, I like this. Yeah. All I need to do is maintain this. And if you're around, like, yeah, you're cool. Let's kick it. Right. But they're not like actively going out to be social.
No, this is true.
They just could care less. It'll come to them if it needs be.
They're happy with their things in their home.
Exactly.
Okay. I picked Virgo as being one of the most introverted and shy signs. I feel like Virgo is really being quiet and shy because they're really just observing everything, and you tend to be quiet when you are observing people, you know? And Virgos are always observing, so naturally they're keeping to themselves more at work or in really any situation. Unless they feel comfortable with you, they are very quiet and really just like looking at you and analyzing the situation. Yeah. And also, I want to say about Virgos, they're in their heads a lot, so even if they're thinking like they want to go maybe talk to you, like, they're overthinking it in their head, so they won't actually go and speak to you. I also say that Virgos usually have a very small clique, and they have a hard time trusting people in general. I feel like all the signs that we're going to talk about can have a harder time trusting people, in my opinion. But Virgo, I feel like, doesn't mind it. Like, they like to be introverted. And with all this reflection and observing, they need some time to themselves, you know? Yeah,
for sure. I feel like Virgo's one of my signs too, and I feel like they just get really stressed out over people easily. That's also another thing. You know, Virgo has a very sensitive nervous system. They're ruled by Mercury. And they, much like Taurus, would much rather know the who, what, where, when, why before they decide that it's time to engage. You know what I mean? Otherwise, their mercurial brain will just be overly stimulated, and then they just kind of, you know, they freak out and they kind of stand still. And like I said, all they're doing is analyzing how it could go, but they're not ever putting themselves in the situation where they actually would go.
Yeah.
And I feel like it's because they don't like being judged either.
Yeah.
That's why they're sometimes introverted. And you know, as social media calls it these days, they hate being perceived. You know what I mean? Like, they'd rather be the one perceiving people than for it to be happening to them, you know? And going outside, socializing, being out in the scene, if they're not feeling it, they're gonna assume that everyone is gonna look at them in some sort of way or just kind of perceive them, and they'd much rather just not be in the mix.
Yeah.
You know, they have a little bit more control in that sense.
They prefer to be in the background. Like, they don't necessarily want eyes on them.
Yeah.
Like, ever.
Yeah. They really, really don't. Unless it's something that's been planned for years.
Yes.
You know?
And they know about ahead of time. Otherwise, like, don't surprise them because they will be flustered by all of the attention on them. Like, they would much prefer not.
Yeah, I feel like Virgos do their best work when no one's looking at them. Because people distract them easily. Again, ruled by Mercury.
Yes.
They can be distracted, much like Gemini, very easily.
Yes, there's a lot going on.
They
in
need
their
to
heads.
focus. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
And to be honest, being around people, you lose focus because you're not the only person there. You're observing their energy, what they're doing, just naturally. As humans, we do that. You know, so Virgo really can be their best, most productive self when they're more alone.
Next, I picked Pisces as being one of the most shy or introverted. Obviously, we all know Pisces is ruled by the planet of Neptune, which is, you know, the planet of illusions, right? So I feel like all Pisceans have creativity flowing through them with a lot of imagination. You know what I mean? That a lot of people don't understand. So I feel like a lot of Pisceans, like friends and family, probably called them crazy for like their ideas and how they think. And because of that, I think Pisces has learned to be shy. Like, I feel like they don't necessarily want to be shy, but they've learned to be shy from how people perceive them. And obviously, I feel like they're very empathetic people and they're mutable water, so they're often in a situation, like they'll be in a situation and they feel other people's energy and immediately they want to bend to their energy to make other people feel comfortable. And I think because of this, they can be on edge when it comes to having to share their own feelings. And they find it easier to just express themselves in other forms of communication, such as like art or poetry or music. So like they don't do as well with like verbal communication. So I feel like that's why they can also be perceived as shy. They're sitting in a lot of their emotions and they don't always like feel comfortable enough to chat about them.
I feel like Pisces is the type of sign to be actually very, very loud, bold, and social once they've sussed out the group. But it takes them a while to warm up. But like my thing is, I feel like they're still a mutable sign. So I'd say out of all the water signs, to me Pisces has always seemed the most social. Out of Cancer, Scorpio, and Pisces, I always thought of Pisces as the one that's more social because of the fact that they can easily tap into other people's emotions in a very non-judgmental way. You know, and I feel like sometimes they have this thing where they kind of pull out of being social, but they're back at it again. They're not anywhere really in the middle for me when it comes to Pisces. Like if they're feeling good, they're socializing, and if they're not, they're kind of retreating. And they really have no control over that. Next, or last for me, the last sign that I picked is Scorpio. So we know Scorpio is ruled by Pluto, the planet of death. So you know, when you're going through a certain level of death, you need to be alone, you know? And Scorpio is that sign that is always dying and being reborn, dying and being reborn. And I feel like you, again, much like Virgo, you can't be around people while you're doing that. You can, but you're probably not going to be doing it at, you know, at your best. And, you know, Scorpio isn't really known to be shy per se, but very introverted. Scorpio is honestly quite intolerable when it comes to interacting with people, most people, and like when they find people they like they stick with them. Because most people annoy the fuck out of us, truly. Like if we can be around you like for a long period of time, for us like that's like 10 minutes, like that means something, because usually we're really picky and we're very nitpicky when it comes to the energy that we're around. And yeah, I just feel like us being ruled by the 8th house, you know, it's all about death and rebirth, like I said. And that cycle just best happens when you're alone. And I say that as someone with experience. Like when I was refusing to let go of socializing all the time, like in my early 20s, I knew it was time to like transcend into something else, go on a spiritual journey, but like it wasn't happening, and it was happening too slow. And I'm like, well, I'm like distracting myself with all these social interactions, and they drain the fuck out of me, so I need to set better boundaries. I need to do something. And when I was able to do that is when I really started to die and be reborn really easily, because I was giving myself that space away from social interactions. So I feel like if you have Scorpio or 8th house placements, this is going to be something that you're going to notice, like, holy shit, I really am growing and evolving more when I'm able to be alone and process everything without everyone else's emotions getting in the mix.
I almost picked Scorpio as one. I didn't, because to me they are very they are obviously introverted, and they do well and can heal themselves when they are alone, right? And when they learn how to be alone is when they are vibrating at their highest power, because I feel like sometimes Scorpio can be looking for their connection all the time and can get lost in that emotion and connection, right? But they are doing their best when they know they need their alone time, and they give that boundary to themselves. I didn't pick Scorpio, Capricorn, or Taurus because I obviously see them as introverts, but I feel like they're quiet and reserved on purpose. You know, like they purposely, in my opinion, set themselves apart, or like set up those boundaries, and they like to have those times to themselves. I feel like the 3 signs that I picked, Pisces, Virgo, and Cancer, they want to engage more, in my opinion, but they're too shy, or like they fear the outcome of being rejected a little bit more, in my opinion. But I feel like all the signs you picked are definitely introverts as well. Okay, last I picked Cancer, and I picked Cancer as shy because I feel like really they're more like very suspicious of new people and new situations, and unless you're a part of their family or their close friend group, they're probably hiding from you and from the rest of the world. If they do come out though, you're probably getting like, you know, a quiet or like sweetheart part of themselves. And yes, Cancers are very kind and nurturing, but they have a wild side to them too, you know? And I feel like sometimes they are very aware of that wild side, and this is another reason why I think they could maybe be shy, is that they don't want people to judge them for that wild side or think that their emotions or their feelings are too crazy. So I feel like sometimes that feeling keeps them from fully engaging in new opportunities or peoples and situations. They obviously also have a very nurturing energy, so I feel like they also need more time, like all of the water signs we talked about, to just rest and recharge, because they often feed into other people so much. These people generally need more time to themselves to recharge.
Yeah, I feel like Cancer also can get very, very irritated with people when they're socializing. It's almost their way of like protecting themselves too.
Yeah.
Because I feel like Cancer, when they were younger, they had no boundaries when it came to showing up for people, and then they grew up and they're like, you know what, well, none of you are actually doing this for me back. You know, so they kind of have this like chip on their shoulder of like, you know what, no, I'm not going to do that. I'm only going to be that for a certain few people, even though they have it in them to go, you know, socialize and like be open and be emotional and have that vulnerable side of you come out, but they kind of hold themselves back because they were judged in their younger years for doing that and being labeled as too much.
But Cancer, I encourage you to just share those emotions, because the people who really fuck with you are going to be fucking with you.
They really are, honestly. And like, you're going to find people that are just as dramatic with you. And it's going to feel so much more fun, because you don't have to be the one that's like fucking dramatic.
Yes.
You know? That's the same for every single person out there.
Yes.
For every time that you've been judged for being something or being too much of something, let those people go, because you will find people that are either just as crazy with you or crazier than you, and you guys just blend together effortlessly.
I also want to say, you know, we talked about these people being, or these signs being introverted and shy. These aren't negative traits, right? Like, we said positive things about how all of these signs can recharge themselves and rejuvenate themselves by being alone, right? They give themselves time to reflect. So don't think of any of these terms as negative, or that you also can't be social and be hitting the scene, you know? Like, I feel like Cancers, Pisces, and Virgos can also be some of the chattiest people I know, you know? So
absolutely.
Take this all with a grain of salt.
take it with a grain of salt. And with everything we say, and I mean, I don't know what you believe in, every aspect of this world, there's duality. You know what I mean? There isn't always one video that's just positive and one video that's always negative.
Right.
And, you know, we can have different opinions but still understand each other's opinions too. Like, there doesn't have to be just the black and white.
And thanks for coming to our TED Talk.
Yeah, buddy. Alright, y'all. Thank you for kicking it with your girls while we go through this list. What do y'all think? Are you one of these signs? Do you agree? Did you used to be an introvert? Now you're an extrovert? Were you an extrovert and you were lying to yourself and now you're an introvert? Let us know down in the comments. So we're gonna link our socials somewhere over here. Don't forget to give your girls a follow. Happy spooky season. Let us know what you're gonna dress up as for Halloween too. Really all the things.
We wanna know.
Yeah. Subscribe and you know we love you. Have a good one.
Bye.